And today we're watching Lego Batman.
Yeah, it's definitely not a serious movie at all.
Oh no, but I think it is a great addition to the Batman mythos.
Yeah, no, it's very different, and it's good that it's different.
I think it is amazing that it's so different. It like breaks the mold of every single Batman film that has been done in like the modern era.
Yeah.
Maybe you would find something more like this.
It's a nice breath of fresh air to not watch a Batman movie that takes itself really seriously.
That ta-
Which, don't get me wrong, I love the Dark Knight series. I love the new Batman that came out. It's nice to watch the movie not take itself seriously.
Yeah, it just the thing is Batman, at least when it came to media and movies, always started out pretty goofy, right?
Yeah.
And this just shows you that it could still work.
Like
But
the goofy part.
yeah, just the goofy part. But the fact is, you could see that goofy part blend in with the new iterations of like a darker Batman.
Yeah.
Because make no mistake, this Batman isn't like a goofball. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't believe himself to be, is what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
He himself, he is a serious character in a very goofy world.
That's true. That's not to say he isn't goofy, though, because he...
Well, he's not goofy in terms of like Lego
Oh, okay.
Lego standards.
Yeah, that's fair. Lego standards does get pretty out there.
It gets crazy, and the movie is better for it. We have to go. I want to talk about a bit of the whole fight sequence that they had, where they kind of played off to a very classic Batman story, where the Gotham is in trouble.
Oh, with
And
the pilots in the beginning, they're like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not scared. Batman's gonna save us."
yeah, I know. I just like that it's a very classic.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you realize that this isn't going to be your typical story because they already did the typical story thing
Mm-hmm.
that you would see in most other Batmans. So with that getting out of the way, I think the interesting thing about Batman is how it evolves past Batman in crime.
Okay. Like it's not just him and defeating villains anymore.
Yeah, that this is a story. This story is going to be about Batman and how he relates to the people around him. Because it's very easily to see that when he talks to the Joker, someone who he's fought his whole life, and in Batman, the Joker doesn't exist without Batman. Batman can't really exist without the Joker.
Two sides of one coin.
Yes, exactly. And you see that when they talk to each other, they should have this rapport at the very least, even though it's sick in the head. At the end of the day, you're spending all your days and nights fighting against each other, planning against each other. There's always going to be just a link between two people. And in the world of Batman, since Batman keeps himself so isolated all the time, the closest relationships he usually does have
As to his villains.
is to his villains.
Yeah.
And there is no bigger villain than the Joker.
Yeah. He's the worst of the worst. He's the biggest baddie.
So when you see the Joker talk about this relationship and rapport that they have, and Batman dismisses it immediately tells you what the story is going to be about. As the Joker, he has that scene where he's like really sad.
He's like, yeah, he's sad that Batman doesn't hate him.
Yeah, that he just doesn't give him any respect, or he doesn't bring down his walls. And after he does get the Joker and he talks about how great his life is, everybody's cheering for him, he makes it back to the Batcave and he says hello to nothing, to nobody. There is no one around. There is just echoes. But speaking on Barbara Gordon, she plays an interesting role. She talks about how the whole Batman thing doesn't work. And Batman's fundamental personality cannot survive if you want real progress.
Yeah, vigilantes, man, they don't work.
And I like that because it's very narratively satisfying.
How so? Explain.
The way, cause how it doesn't work is because he doesn't trust people, let people in, so he cannot move on as a character. And Gotham City as a whole cannot move on either.
Because he doesn't let people in, or I'm
And
sorry.
so when she's saying how Batman doesn't work, I'm saying it works on both levels. On that his approach to his job doesn't work, and it
Oh.
also works because the approach to his personal life, it doesn't work either.
Yeah.
Because if we do not work together, we are nothing but
Yeah.
alone.
Damn.
I watched this really good video called Why Batman Movies Are Afraid of Robin. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but if you look it up on YouTube, you're going to find it. It's a really good video. It's going back in time, explaining basically how Batman movies started and where they are now. And I quite enjoyed that one. But he brought up a concept that I never thought about from Batman, because you just don't see it in movies, that Robin is the evolution of Batman's character. It is the full circle closure of who he is. And I thought that was, well, that's an incredible point by this guy.
Yeah.
Number one. And this movie shows you how this narrative focus can work in a movie.
And it does. They do it really well.
It works. It definitely works because Robin is just a parallel
Yeah.
to Batman
I
himself.
feel like, right, as a movie, the whole Robin and Batman thing, well, at least in this movie, right, it's kind of a classic, like, middle-aged man adopts a son that he doesn't want and then ends up wanting him in the end, which is like the cliche thing. But I feel like it works really well for this movie. Like, it may be cliche tropes, but it's a really good foil for Batman.
No, yeah, it definitely serves a very good thematic point for Batman in that he can end the cycle with his own trauma, because you see the way that Batman affects Robin as he's trying to teach him lessons, and he's teaching him all the wrong ways to raise a person, and how small things like this can affect a person for the rest of their life.
Just by saying, I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I just mean how Batman's demeanor is a solo artist.
Yeah.
He doesn't take help from anyone.
And adding Robin truly makes him learn how to work with somebody else, because he's quite literally working with a kid, so he has to learn how to work with this kid if he wants to keep this kid alive.
I'm specifically speaking about the scene where further in the movie, Batman gets trapped in this thing called the Phantom Zone. And he looks down to see Robin. And Robin internalizes everything Batman has ever done from that point and decides to do the same thing. He's like, what would Batman do? And he recreates that moment. And it just doesn't work. And Batman, for the first time, sees for himself how he affects
Other
the people around
yeah.
him. And yeah, again, this is an awesome way to tell a story about Batman that I feel like is heavily underexplored.